Nelson Albino. He is a political commentator de Puerto Rico. And today we are going to have a very important conversation. The conversation today is themed, "This is bigger than Donald Trump." If you've been paying attention to the news, whether you live here in the United States or you're a friend outside of the United States, a lot of people feel that tomorrow's election are much bigger than a choice of one man. It seems like this is a fight for so much more. So help me give a warm welcome to our friend Nelson Albino. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rosangel. And you are absolutely right. This is bigger than Trump because we are talking about what's on stake, and it's freedom itself, what is on the line tomorrow at the presidential election. Freedom not only for the United States, but freedom for the whole world. Because I was last week actually talking with some friends, and we were talking about the election, and I told them that the U.S. is the last ground of freedom in the world. Is the only country in the world right now where socialists haven't been in power for so long. Is the only country in the world right now, the United States of America, that has a constitution that don't allow liberals and communists to manipulate the system as they did in other countries in Europe, as they are doing right now in South America with in Venezuela, what they want to do right now in Chile, for example, that they are going to draft a new constitution. The Constitution of the United States has been around for over 200 years, and these people want to get rid of the Constitution. Remember 2016 when they wanted to get rid of the Electoral College just because they didn't won the election, just because of that. So these people don't believe in freedom. They don't believe in the individual liberties that we have as U.S. citizens. That's why this election is about freedom itself more than Trump. Trump is the symbol of that freedom because of what he represents. Not because Trump is a good looking guy or whatever people may think. It's because what he says and what he has been doing for these past 4 years. So yes, I totally agree that this election is bigger than Trump. The reason that the American people must re-elect President Trump is because of that. Joe Biden represents not only the political establishment, but he joined the socialists and the far left when he made this agreement with Bernie Sanders, when he shows Kamala Harris as his running mate, the most liberal senator of 2019. That's on record. So the American people tomorrow has the choice to make. You want to keep your freedom, or you want to change the whole system and destroy the liberty that the founding fathers fought for over 250 years ago.
Thank you. That's a very powerful way to answer that question. Some people, and this is what I've realized, and I mentioned this to you moments before we went live, that it has been listening to insights of friends outside of the United States, such as yourself,
Hmm.
that has helped me understand the message that you just shared with me and the audience. Because a lot of times, the problem is right in front of us and we don't see it. We're so close to it, right? And
Hmm.
it's why it's so important to have so many perspectives. Um, why do you say to people who call you, like, you're exaggerating, this is dramatic, um the other side, they're being so racist, they're white supremacy, we got to take down the patriarchy, we got to do all this? What do you say to that?
You know, it's funny that liberals want to bring the race card every time that they are wrong, because it doesn't work anymore. Okay, if you go to a Trump rally, you're gonna find people from all races. You're gonna see people that are Hispanic. You're gonna see black people. You're gonna see Asian Americans. You're gonna see people even Arabs. Okay, so you're gonna see people from multiple races. So the race card doesn't work anymore, uh, because results talks by itself. If you see that that black people right now in the United States had the lowest employment rate, that Hispanics has the lowest unemployment rate, you say, "Oh, this is not a racist president." Okay, so uh, when you have people from minorities that have more money in their pockets during this past 4 years that with Obama and other presidents before him, the myth that Trump is a racist president get destroyed. Okay, uh, white supremacy is another myth, is another lie, because if Trump was a supremacist, a white supremacist, why Trump will declare the KKK as a domestic terrorist organization? Why he will do that if he was if he's a white supremacist? Okay, yes, he declared Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization because they are a domestic terrorist organization. They've been destroying cities around the country. Okay,
Right.
uh, but the KKK was also declared a domestic terrorist organization in the same executive order that they declare Antifa. So President Trump is not a racist. That's the myth that and the lies that the mainstream media has been telling the people for so long, and that's why nobody else believes in CNN, and nobody else believes in NBC and New York Times and all these channels and dailies that they lie every day. So, uh, what I have to say or tell to the people who tell me that I support a racist, if I'm a racist, why if Trump is a racist, why I have more money in my pocket now? I'm Hispanic, I'm Latino,
Mhm.
and even here in Puerto Rico, President Trump is the president who has assigned the biggest amount of federal funding to the island
Wow.
in over 120 years of American dominance in Puerto Rico. So why Trump? How? Why is not the real question? How Trump is a racist? They have to prove it because I have all the evidence to prove them wrong.
You know, and and that's always the things that I hear when I bump into anyone, or I hear people say, I don't know why anybody would vote, and it always starts the same for that racist man. Um, you know, he doesn't care about us. Look how he's disrespected. Let's go there. Look how he's disrespected the Puerto Rican people. He just, by tossing it, that still gets mentioned today. All these years later, oh, he disrespected the American people who's throwing the paper towels, and you know,
That was taken out
it's
of context. That was taken out of context, and the thing with the paper towels is another lie from the media and the far left. You know why? Because uh, and it was this story was told by a journalist that was there in that room day that President Trump threw the towels. She said that the logistic of the event was supposed that people were supposed to make a line, and President Trump was supposed to hand them the towels. Okay, but the people got so crazy because they were seeing the president of the United States for the first time in their lives that the whole thing became a mess.
wow.
So the president didn't have another choice that throw the towels because people didn't want to make the damn line. So he didn't want to follow the rules. So he started throwing the towels, and the media immediately that same day, oh, President Trump is disrespecting the Puerto Rican people because he's throwing paper towels, and a lie became the truth. That's the whole thing about the paper towels. You know, a lie that has been used by his enemies for over 4 years. I just annihilated and destroyed the lie, in less than 20 seconds. So that's what happened that day.
That's fantastic. And tell me your thoughts about what's happening with the New York Post being censored for publishing the Hunter Biden story. How are you seeing it from your perspectives over in Puerto Rico?
You brought an important and excellent example of what I was saying about freedom. Uh, when you see the oldest newspaper in America, the New York Post, is the oldest, founded by an American founding father. This is do you figure out how important the New York Post is? The New York Post was founded by Alexander Hamilton. Okay, so the New York Post is it's not only the oldest daily newspaper or daily in the United States, it's also a symbol of freedom of press. So when you see the New York Post being censored by Twitter and Facebook, you figure out how dangerous these people are, because they are committed to censor everything or everyone who don't share their opinion. So they started with New York Post. So if they did it to the New York Post, if they did that to the New York Post, we are vulnerable to
Right.
that same censorship. So I can say that it's basically the best example of the danger that the Democratic Party and the far left represents to American freedom.
And as you understand it, how do you see it play out? And what I mean is, for me, what I've seen very obvious with this New York Post example is I also saw how obvious it was when this really was barely covered by the mainstream media. It's being covered a little bit more now, but there's been so much resistance from those of us who get censored all the time. Because I imagine you get censored too.
Oh, since since Facebook started these stupid term and conditions of rules on October 1st, uh, and they introduced this also stupid thing called the fact check.
Oh, the fat check,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. So I've been censoring my fan page multiple times for stupid reasons, because what I posted that has been fact checked by Facebook are not lies. Even Facebook tell me that I told the truth, but it was partially false.
Ay,
So
ay, ay.
so it's so stupid. Uh, but going back to your question about the resistance of the media to cover the New York Post censorship, it was covered thanks to pressure from the people. The people start talking about on the social media. People started attacking Twitter, attacking Facebook, and the pressure from all the people was so big and so strong that the media didn't have another choice than to cover what happened. Even the Republicans and the president itself had to talk about it, because you're talking about censorship, okay, in a country where freedom of expression, free expression,
Mhm.
free press, all of that is covered and protected by the First Amendment. So what Facebook and Twitter did was violate the constitutional rights of the New York Post and the constitutional rights of the people who read the New York Post. So it's not a
I
small
didn't
thing.
even think
It's a
about
big
that.
deal. It's a big deal.
I didn't even think about that. I mean, there was a story that I covered just yesterday on one of the videos that Glenn Greenwald, who's co-founder of the news outlet The Intercept,
Mhm.
he was censored by his own news outlet because he was trying to publish a story on this very, very subject, and it was held back. They wouldn't publish it because they wanted him to take out what was being where the parts where he was being critical of Biden and the establishment, like the media and stuff. And he resigned. I mean, I thought about that. I'm like, when you like resigning from something you co-found, that's like your
Mhm.
baby. Like that shows how crazy this moment in time
It
is.
shows
And
how corrupted they are, how crooked they are. Like they are corrupted. We are living under an establishment that you know just be more realistic. What was one of the slogans of President Trump in 2016, and he's still using it here this year? Drain the swamp,
yeah,
right? So this is a big swamp. This is a big, big, big swamp that covers the whole world, not only the U.S., the whole world, including Puerto Rico. And one of the reasons, or what I can say, the main reason that the Puerto Rican political establishment don't want President Trump to be reelected is because the president is decided to drain the whole swamp, including Puerto Rico, because here in Puerto Rico we have a big swamp. It's big and it stinks horribly.
Oh my gosh.
And the president has been telling Puerto Ricans for, well, since he took office in 2017, that the Puerto Rican officials are corrupt. He said that, and you know it. That he said that after Hurricane Maria, he called the previous governor, he called it a corrupt guy. And what happened to the governor? He had to resign because he was a corrupt guy. So most people here in the island, from the political establishment, from the two main parties, don't want Trump to be reelected because he's decided to also drain the swamp in Puerto Rico. And that's why he named a new leader of the U.S. District Attorney Office here in Puerto Rico, that a guy that is not from the island, he's not Puerto Rican, he's from the States. And Puerto Rican leaders and politicians hate people from the state that come to represent the federal government because they can be bought. you know,
Mm.
they can they bribes don't work out with people from the states. That's why they lobby for Puerto Rican people to be named in those positions, because that's people that they have friendship or a previous relationship in the political environment. But when the president decides to name someone from outside the island, it's when they get scared, because they say, "Wait, how I'm going to become a friend with this person if he doesn't know me? He's not afraid of anybody here because he's not from the establishment." So that's why they don't want Trump to be reelected, because Joe Biden represents that swamp. They represent on the federal level the same level of corruption that has been uh, keeping Puerto Rico stuck for so many years. So it's a very important election even for us. That here we don't vote for the president, but it's a big election, and an important one even for us.
That is one of the things that has been the most eye opening for me. It's just the layers of why tomorrow's election is so significant,
Hmm.
not just here for Americans, but that if depending on who gets wins the election, that it'll have ripples across the world.
Hmm.
Some people compare it to Biden translates to more masks mandates, more lockdowns, more testing, more
Socialism,
contact tracing.
socialism.
But
When
they
you
want to
see
take care of us, Nelson. They
when
want to protect us.
yeah, that's what they say that's what socialists say around the world, and they are so protective that their countries are hell on earth. That's how protected they are. uh, when you see the Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro calling Biden his comrade, and that's on tape, okay? When you see the Venezuelan dictator, the Venezuelan communist dictator, calling Joe Biden his comrade, you realize that Joe Biden is a threat for America and the whole world. Venezuela, like Cuba was in the 20th century and is still today, Venezuela and Cuba are two big threats for Latin America. Two big threats. Cuba and now Venezuela, that have been helping them since Hugo Chavez took power in Venezuela in 1999. They have been trying to radicalize Latin America, and they have been trying to bring communism to all countries in Latin America, especially South America, Argentina, Bolivia. They've been trying to do it even in Colombia, in Brazil, many countries. When you see Joe Biden being a friend of these people, what do you think will happen? What do you think will happen with Latin America? When the United States has been the wall protecting Latin America from communism, like they did in the 20th century, when the Soviet Union was around with their KGB agents around the world trying to spread communism, especially in Latin America. What do you think will happen if Joe Biden becomes president? So that's why this election is important for the whole world. Because if Joe Biden becomes president of the United States, communism and socialism will get rid of the whole his American continent. Because he will be supportive and he will be an ally of these communists that rule in Cuba and Venezuela, and they will spread communism around their neighboring countries thanks to the United States. So that's why it's freedom what is on the line tomorrow, not only in the United States but in the whole world.
I've seen some of the most scariest
I know you're
trends
shocked.
in the last couple. Yeah, I am shocked. I couldn't even, like, what do you say to that?
It's not a
Because when
conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. These are facts because evidence is there. That's why we thank God for the internet. So the evidence is online. The videos of Maduro calling Biden his comrade in Venezuela, it's online. It's on tape. I'm not telling a conspiracy. I'm not here trying to spread fear on people. I'm not. I'm just saying what's happening. I'm just telling the truth, and I have the evidence to back me up.
and this is here one of those big reasons why we need more perspectives at the table, why we have to uh be able to come together to listen more, why we can't assume just because we're living here that we know everything. It's obvious that we, the American people, not all of us, but so many of us, not only do we have blind spots, but we have been conditioned or maybe just led by people that we trust. A lot of times people in office, we trust them. We have people that we're friends with that have been politicians for so many years, so many years, so many years. Are things getting better? Are they the same? Are they worse? Do you feel like you can make an impact when you're with them, or do you get shut down because you have a different point of view? And I think this is why so many independents and Democrats are voting for Trump tomorrow, is not because they're Republican. I think fundamentally many of us agree with many of the democratic values, but we just don't understand this venom that has seeped in very rapidly into not just politics, the mainstream media, education. What else?
Well, I freedom.
Yeah.
The whole thing gets summarized on one word: freedom. That's it. And that's why when you see Joe Biden's rallies, he don't draw more than what 20 people.
Yeah.
But when you watch a Trump rally, listen, yesterday, last night in Miami. I don't know if you watched the rally, but I watched it. And last night in Miami, he drove over 15,000 people. There were 15,000 people. Listen to this. You're gonna, if you want to be shocked, just listen to this. 15,000 people waited over 2 hours for Donald Trump because he was
Wow.
behind schedule because he had other 4 rallies. Today he's also having 5 rallies. Okay, right now he's in North Carolina. The Vice President Mike Pence is right now in Pennsylvania. Uh, Trump is gonna be in North Carolina. He's gonna be in Michigan tonight. I think his last rally of this whole campaign is gonna be in Michigan.
Wow.
But the thing is that 15,000 people went to Miami last night to see Donald Trump. Trump landed at nearly at midnight,
Oh my God.
and the area was full of people. People
That's
left
amazing.
that place around nearly two. Well, I got sleep. I fell asleep. I fell asleep because I was so tired that I didn't finish the whole thing because I was tired. I fell asleep, and before that he was in Georgia in another rally, and that rally drew 42,000 people.
That's amazing.
That was yesterday, Sunday. On Saturday, He hosted one in Butler, Pennsylvania, and 60,000 people in Butler, Pennsylvania. Okay, so this
Ooh.
guy is a damn rock star. This is not a president. This is not a politician. This is a celebrity. This guy is a celebrity. I haven't seen so much enthusiasm from the people to their president. That's
Yeah.
why Trump was supposed to get reelected, and I hope that is a landslide because when you see someone who can't even draw 20 people to a rally, a presidential candidate, a former vice president that can't draw 20 people in a rally, versus a guy that draws 60,000, that's the attendance of a Super Bowl game. Okay, so 60,000 people.
That's insane.
So you say, well, this guy's supposed to win. If this guy don't win, it's because something happened.
Yeah. Eso me
So
va a huele la That's what I've been saying. I'm like, I will be surprised if Trump doesn't win because just with and here's the thing. Since he won, since the day he won, he's had the Democrats, the big tech machine, um,
yeah,
and all of these different
media.
the media all working against him, and yet many benefiting and getting wealthy off his name, which is the irony of all of this.
Yeah,
Right, but like I see, and then I like
they
to
want to get rid of him, and he's the reason that people talk about CNN. Well, the ratings have fell because they are being. I don't. This is not FCC sanctioned. This show, right? So I can say a word.
No, yeah, tú
So
puedes decir, yeah.
okay, so they've been spreading so much shit that people don't believe it, don't believe what they say anymore. So their ratings have been dropping a lot. Okay, Hallmark Channel has more ratings, has bigger ratings than CNN and NBC, and nobody watches Hallmark. I don't watch that channel at all. I don't like their shows, and and this is not a lie. I'm not joking. That this is the truth. Uh, they Hallmark Channel and uh, their shows that are so
They're more
ridiculous.
popular.
Yeah, they're more popular than CNN. Okay,
Oh,
so so they make money out of Trump. Yes, you're right, but their credibility has also fallen,
yeah.
and they are scared of that. You know who else is gonna be unemployed
Tú.
after tomorrow?
Eso espero.
The people who make the people who make surveys, the
Mm.
people who make polls, because the polling industry is going out of business after this presidential election. Because they've been saying that Trump is gonna that they're being repeating the whole story of 2016. So get
Yes.
ready, Rosangel, for Snowflake season part two.
Oh my goodness. Oh
The
my
season
goodness.
two of everybody crying, and
And
so
screaming. They're gonna have another
yeah.
screaming day for
So
Trump.
you live in New York, right? So you live
Yes.
in New York, so get ready. Well, I don't know. Maybe your socialist governor wouldn't allow you to go to Times Square to cry, but but
I'll make up a
but
protest and I'll be able to do it then.
but if just in case that some liberals uh uh for tomorrow they don't get afraid of COVID anymore. Just wait for season two of Snowflakes crying in Times Square like they did 4 years ago. so this is it's history repeating itself, because what I've been reading on the media, watching on TV, watching on social media, it's the same whole thing. It's the same shit all over again.
Much, much tremendo bullshit. Mucho,
Yeah.
mucho, mucho.
So get ready for season two of crying, and snowflakes crying and more crying and more complaints. Get ready for people calling to get rid of the electoral college again. Get ready
Ay,
for
ay,
people
ay.
saying that the Russians interfered. So get ready for all that, because
Ay, ay, ay.
that's what's gonna happen.
Nelson, thank you so much for being with us. The half hour went by too fast, but I
Yeah.
hope that we can continue to have conversations like this from time to time because I think it's wonderful that we can hear your perspective and your insights from someone who's living outside the United States and someone who's also familia Boricua.
Yeah.
And can you share with the community where they can find you, learn more about your work?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. They can find me on Facebook. I hope Facebook doesn't censor me. But no, I'm just kidding, just kidding. You can find me on Facebook on my fan page, Nelson R. Albino. It's the same name that you see here on the screen. You can also follow me on Twitter at NAlbinoJR, or you can also type Nelson R. Albino on the search, and you will find me there on Twitter. And the same name on Instagram. So those are my three main social media accounts. I so yeah, you can follow me everywhere. I'm tomorrow. I'm gonna be talking about all of this, and tomorrow I'm going to make fun of all these people again because they are being spamming me on my page, so I have to get revenge.
Oh my goodness. And aren't you also selling some t-shirts that
Yeah,
in order
yeah,
they
yeah.
want to be
One,
bold, they can buy from you?
yeah, yeah, definitely. Thanks for mentioning. You know that we hosted a Puerto Rican for Trump rally here in Puerto Rico on October
Wow.
18. That was a big success, and it was covered by media in over 30 countries. So even in Japan, they knew that we hosted a Trump rally here in Puerto Rico. Okay, a caravan. Uh,
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we were selling, and we're still selling some Puerto Ricans for Trump T-shirts. We also have a new T-shirt came out last week it's a we call it the "Make Puerto Rico Great Again" T-shirt
Oh my
that has Donald Trump in his Simpson version,
god.
holding a Puerto Rican flag in his hand and with a big sign saying "Make Puerto Rico Great Again." So it's on sale. You can inbox me on my Facebook page, Nelson Albino, and we can give you all the details for the shirt. We've been delivering shirts, we're shipping shirts to California, to Maryland, to Virginia, to Kentucky, New York, Florida, all around the country, Arizona.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Any last words as we wrap up the interview?
Well, Rosangel, I would just want to thank you for the opportunity once again. Thank you for having me on your show again. And to whoever is going to vote tomorrow, he's watching this show or is going to watch it taped, because you know that this is going
Replay.
to be yeah, it's going to be available in your page. Uh, just remember that what is on stake tomorrow, it's your freedom, it's your liberty. It's not Donald Trump or Joe Biden or the Republican Party of the Democratic Party. It's not even uh who wins the White House. Is what's going to happen in this country, for not for the next 4 years, for the future, at the long term. So it's
Bueno,
your
I
choice.
pray for the most benevolent outcome and
Yeah.
que porque todo el mundo espera trampa, pero yo espero
I don't think it's
que,
gonna happen. I think the only way that it can happen is if it's not a landslide,
mm.
and I think that the red wave is coming. So and a red wave, it's impossible to cheat on a red wave. Okay, you never cheat on water. Have you seen somebody cheating on water?
I mean, with just the optics alone, if the mainstream media has been trying so hard to cover Biden in a favorable light and Trump in a
Yeah,
bad one,
but
and yet they
they
cannot
did that.
hide
They did
all
that
of
on.
the numbers,
No,
that's
don't worry
kind
about
of
it.
yeah.
The
Yeah,
media,
I think
no,
people
don't get
see right
scared.
through it.
Yeah, yeah, don't get scared because the media did that in 2016 when Trump wasn't the president, and back then the media was a real threat. Now, media,
People see right through the BS,
yeah,
¿verdad que sí?
yeah, yeah.
Bueno.
The people don't believe that shit anymore.
I love ending on that note. We don't believe that shit anymore.
Yeah,
Tremendo bullshit. Please go vote tomorrow. This is bigger than Donald Trump. And Nelson, thank you so much again for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
we
Thank
hope to
you.
connect with you very soon. Lo vemos, mi gente.
We
Muchas
will.
gracias. You can find
Gracias.
us on Cafecito Break and visit us on YouTube Cafecito Break and YouTube Cafecito Boricua. Muchas gracias. Muchas bendiciones, todo el mundo.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you,
a good day.
Nelson.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.